back to Snapshot, your place for all news, history, and talking about quad ball. And we just had one of the biggest college weekends for quad ball in recent memory, certainly this year. And we're about to have a lot of club games upcoming this weekend as well. We're going to break it down all today. First, fun thing, does the Smith in the Boston Forge logo have a name? Here's the Forge logo, the MLQ team, if anyone's not familiar. Maybe just Smith or Smithy, if you like. But let's break down some of the games from this past weekend. First, Diamond Cup, Texas State's home tournament. One of the biggest games, definitely the most high-profile game of the year so far. Creighton taking down Texas State in a back-and-forth game. This game was electric to watch. Creighton starting strong with a 4-1 run. But Nate Targonski went off in this game. David Avila also showing why he was the South Division MVP in MLQ. Izzy Ramirez having a good game for Texas State as well. But Creighton doing what they can to keep with it. And this was back and forth all the way up to the 20 minutes. Thought this might have gone golden goal. But the flag catch for Creighton is what ended up sealing the deal, only edging out the win by 2 points. But that was enough to give the Blue Jays the win over the Bobcats. For the rest of Diamond Cup, pretty much business as usual, nothing out of the ordinary. Creighton taking a dominating win over UT Texas and also a big win over UTSA. Texas State getting the revenge against Sam Houston. Sam Houston had a bit of a short roster this weekend, but nonetheless, Texas State getting their revenge. Sam Houston also defeating A&M. So these A&M games, first of all, great to see A&M back on the field. These were both unofficial matches, and we'll look at that in the standings in a second. That said, A&M surprised me a lot, putting up 11 goals on Sam Houston and 10 goals on Texas State. Even if they're not playing their starters the whole time, Texas State and Sam Houston is still impressive, especially for the first year back for a team that hasn't played in a couple of years. So great to see A&M making progress, making strides. And Texas State's home tournament was a good one. Congrats to Creighton for getting the win. Here's our updated standings for the Southwest. It hurts to see UT. UT is not a bad team at all. This was the situation that my team Baylor was in for a lot of the Southwest, is just that UT just happens to be the lowest ranked team out of the bunch. When you've got Texas State, Sam Houston, UTSA, all top 10 teams, it's hard to find wins. So even though UT I don't think is a bad team, they also play in a division with 3 of the top 10 teams in the country. And they haven't played A&M yet. So haven't been able to see how that game would go either. One thing I've added on here is the regional power rankings. So in addition to national, which I just did last week, I'm going to start putting my regional power rankings in here, which I'll update from time to time. But nothing out of the ordinary. Texas State number 1. I'm going to keep Sam Houston second above UTSA, like I had in my power rankings last week. UT, A&M. Interestingly though, Texas State, Sam Houston, and UTSA all just 3-2 in official games, even though most people would agree that Texas State is by far and away the best team in this division. But by record, all equal so far. So we will see where that goes. Up in the Northeast, there were 2 big tournaments in the college scene this past weekend. First, MQC, RPI getting a golden goal victory over Brandeis. Continuing to show that they're kind of that best of the rest type team, maybe knocking on the door of Boston, Harvard, and Rutgers, sitting 4th place probably, but taking down Brandeis, came right down to the end. Schwartz catching the flag, getting a late goal, trying to make a game out of it for Brandeis, but RPI gets the win. They also got a win over Brown, and then Brandeis defeated Brown as well. So RPI 2-0 on this weekend, Brandeis 1-1, Brown 0-2. And then another big one. Someone had mentioned on the Reddit that 7 of the top 10 teams on my ranking and Fast Breaks were playing this weekend. 3 of them were playing right here. Virginia, Rutgers, and Harvard. Virginia, these first 2 games looked incredible, looked dominant. They looked great back here as well. But I'm going to start here because they looked unstoppable in these games against 2 other top 10 opponents. The ball movement, the defense, it's all there. UVA can do it all. And until we see them face Creighton or Texas State, I don't expect them to lose a game until we see that. Rutgers getting a much bigger win than I thought against Harvard. You can see back here is a little bit closer the second time around they played. But Rutgers kind of dominating Harvard. That's maybe a storyline from this past weekend. Harvard didn't win a game in this tournament, 0-4. And you could say, well, Rutgers and Virginia were the better teams, and they were. But Harvard didn't do a ton to inspire confidence in this weekend as well. In this game, only a 1 quad ball differential here. Without the flag, it would have been 110 to 100. So this is the best game they played all day. Even then, it's still a loss. I want to point out this game, UVA versus Rutgers, because the Scarlet Knights held on. You'll see this here, but it was a 5-0 run for Virginia to start the game. Well, then Rutgers brought it back to 6-5, Cavaliers winning, and then UVA went on a run. But about 10 minutes into this game, it was only 6-5, and you're thinking, well, maybe Rutgers can make something out of it, and even the final scoreline doesn't look that lopsided. In the quad ball game, it's 17-9 in terms of goals, but a 45-point win for Virginia is something that Rutgers can be proud of, I think. They took the number 1 team the distance. Here as well, Virginia, not starting out slow per se, but you'll see here, this is Virginia, my bad. But Harvard stuck with them here at the beginning. It goes 4-4 here at the start, even taking the lead 5-4 after this goal from Botchway. And then Virginia ties it up, and then Virginia doesn't look back. A massive run by them. Ended up winning 200-90. But UVA getting tested a little bit in the first 5 to 10 minutes. And so people were questioning, can UVA go for 4 or 5 games for a nationals run? I think they can, because even then they're still playing top tier opponents here. Now, if they played all 4 of these games and then matched up against a Creighton, would they win that match? Would they be ready for it? Maybe, maybe not. But as of right now, UVA is the best team in the country, and I don't think that's arguable right now. Here's the MQC standings at the moment. I've added the rankings down here as well. Rutgers, I think after this weekend, is by far and away the number 1 team in the MQC. Boston didn't play, but given how good Rutgers looked this past weekend, I'm going to give them the nod. Boston 2, Harvard is definitely 3. Harvard is a 500 record now in official matches. They've started 4-0 and now down to 0-4. This is not the MQC standings. I want to point that out. This is just the official standings. So in MQC, they might be, they're still 4-0, I think, but this past tournament didn't count as MQC. So 4-4 overall. RPI, I think, is the number 4 team in the MQC in terms of power rating. Brandeis number 5. And then I didn't know what to do down here. I gave it to Brown for number 6 because they took RPI to golden goal earlier this year. Vermont 7 had a win over Emerson, I believe, and another win over Middlebury. And I'm keeping Middlebury at 9. Middlebury on paper I came into the year thinking that they would be a lot better. And they still could be. They very well still could be, but they just haven't shown us that yet. So I have to put them at 9 for now. Vassar there as well. Excited to see when they can get back on the pitch. It should be this weekend, I believe. We'll look at that here in a bit. Here's your Mid-Atlantic standings as well. I moved Pittsburgh here. We'll look at the Midwest standings here in a second. But I moved Pitt here just because Pitt is going to be playing some of these teams this upcoming weekend. And it fit better on my slides to move them here. So Virginia, 8-0 overall, 4-0 in official matches after the wins over Harvard and Rutgers. James Madison, Triangle United, and Pittsburgh all bringing up the rear in the Mid-Atlantic. Let's go ahead and look at the Midwest as well. Creighton, number 1 team. I forgot to update their standings as well, but it was 3 wins for Creighton, so they will go up to 4-0 in official matches and 7-0 overall. Creighton, number 1 team in the Midwest. Number 2, Illini, in my opinion. I'm keeping Case Western at 3. I thought about putting Michigan State there, but Case Western at the start of the year when they played the Illini looked really good. Haven't seen that high out of Michigan State yet, so Case Western might be more volatile, higher highs, lower lows. Michigan State may be a little bit more consistent, but we'll have to see, because these teams did split the last time they played each other. But we'll see what comes next. I've got Mizzou at 5. I think Mizzou can climb higher than this, especially this weekend. I had a source inform me that Illinois and Missouri should be playing a 3-game series in St. Louis. If that's true, that would be very fun to watch. So we should see some pretty good Midwest teams going at it this weekend. Number 6, I'm putting Columbia, Minnesota. Again, after 5 for Missouri, it gets tough just because we haven't seen a big sample size from these teams. But I've got Columbia, Minnesota, Marquette, Purdue, Ball State, and Bowling Green rounding out your Midwest standings. Let's start looking ahead now. The final regular season matches on the schedule for MQC, at least in the fall semester, there's a lot of them. There were some changes here, I believe. I believe the groups are now Emerson, Middlebury, and Vermont in a group. Emerson, Middlebury, Vermont in one group. And I believe the other group was Boston, Harvard, and Brandeis, if I remember correctly. I think this group is still the same. And then it's Middlebury, Vermont, Emerson in Group B. And that was because Rutgers just played Oktoberfest, so Emerson decided to come here instead. I don't know if these additional matches are happening or not. I couldn't confirm that. But you've got 2 groups. I'm going to take Boston now. I think Boston is on a better trajectory for this weekend after the weekend that Harvard just had. So give me Boston to go 2-0 against Harvard and Brandeis. Give me Harvard to still beat Brandeis. And then for Emerson, Middlebury, Vermont, that could go any which way. Give me Vermont to go 2-0. Give me Emerson to go 1-1 and Middlebury 0-2. If we get the Middlebury that we thought we were going to get at the start of the year, then I'd take Middlebury 2-0. But they've got to show us that first. So MQC, going to be fun to see that happening. Here's what I was alluding to earlier with the Mid-Atlantic. We've got 2 games this weekend. I think both of them are official. At least it's notated here in Quad Ball 1 as such. UVA and James Madison will be playing. Virginia should take care of business fairly easily. And then Pittsburgh and Triangle United. Triangle United, for those that don't know, is the combined North Carolina team of UNC, Duke, and NC State. That's that team right there. They'll be playing Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this one. They've shown a little bit more firepower, a little more defense than Triangle has, so I'll take them there. But should be some good matches there in Virginia. Okay, so College Diamond Cup just happened. Now the Club Diamond Cup should be happening this weekend. As far as I know, it's just going to be Texas Hill Country Heat versus Texas Copperheads. Unless somebody makes a last-second appearance, that's what it's going to be as far as I know. So I'm assuming that's just going to be a 3-game set between those 2 teams. Either way, it will be fun to watch, kind of an MLQ style. San Antonio, Houston, those games are always fun to watch. We will see what happens there, but it will be in San Marcos, which is more of a home tournament side for Heat. Some other club tournaments, this is where things get interesting. So we have Flamingo Royale being hosted by the Philadelphia Flamingos. There's only 1 game listed here. There's a couple more that we know of based on what the Flamingos have said. It looks like, though, and I can put the teams up on here, the 4 teams attending should be Atlantic Dragons, Philadelphia Flamingos, New Jersey Dice, and New York Slice. So Dice is the A team to Slice. Slice is New Jersey's B team. It's unclear. I've seen 2 schedules floating around where Dragons are combined with Flamingos and another one where they're playing separate. Here's where this also gets interesting because New Jersey Dice are supposed to be playing in Pandamonium on Sunday up in Boston. Now, it's certainly not impossible that they could do both, play on a Saturday and a Sunday. It's been done before. If it is, that's going to be a big weekend for New Jersey. It'd be very exciting to see because we haven't seen any of these club teams yet. So more club scene action, that would be fun. But either way, there will be some kind of quad ball being played on Saturday in Pennsylvania and on Sunday up in Boston. I put the Lobsters Instagram post on here. One, because it shows all 4 of the teams attending, the Boston Lobsters, New Jersey Dice, Vermont, and the Red Pandas. To my knowledge, all the Red Pandas games will be unofficial, but any games between Lobsters, Dice, and Vermont should be official, from what I understand. And I just wanted to throw their roster up in here that they're bringing to the tournament. I mean, the likes of Ethan Dillon, Eli Fighter, Jade Gray, Emma Persons, Andrew Steinberg, Rob Walsh on there as well. There's going to be plenty of ways for this team to score. And then in the beater game, you've got Kieran Collier, you've got Jess Lee, Cleo Brooks. Again, this team is loaded with talent with Collier, Brooks, Lee, Gray, Dillon. It goes on and on. I'm excited to see how this team meshes together. this weekend, particularly against this DICE team that we keep talking about. I have it on good authority that Leo Fried will be playing with New Jersey DICE this weekend. The two-time MLQ MVP, probably the best player in the sport right now, should be playing with DICE this weekend, which is going to create for some very entertaining quad ball. I wanted to visit my power rankings from last week just really quick before we finish the video. After this weekend, with all the college games that happen, I don't think I would change anything about my rankings. UVA is still number 1, Creighton 2, they've earned that over Texas State. You could make the argument, well, Creighton beat the number 3 team, so should they get the boost? You could make the argument, except for the fact that Virginia looked so dominant against Rutgers and Harvard. So I'm leaving UVA at 1. Illinois at 4, they didn't play, but the reason I'm leaving Rutgers at 5 is because they didn't look, it didn't look close against Virginia. There were times in that second game where they had it, where they were only down 6-5 and could have made something happen. But other than that, Rutgers still looked like an inferior team to Virginia. So I think there's a gap there, somewhat. But I'm not gonna drop them either for losing, because now they've proven that they are better than Harvard. They've proven that even though they still got beat by Virginia, they can put up goals against Virginia. They can have 10-minute runs where they can be at least on the same level as them. So I'm gonna leave Rutgers there for now. Sam Houston at 6, UTSA at 7, I'm fine with that. Blue Jays didn't play, but I'll leave them at 8. Boston 9, you could argue dropping Harvard off the list. The problem is I don't know who you bring up. Case Western and Michigan State didn't play this weekend. UT hasn't earned a spot in my mind. RPI isn't there. Is there anyone else out of the Midwest or the Mid-Atlantic that you would put there? Probably not. So I think Harvard stays at number 10 despite an 0-4 weekend. That said, it was 0-4 to Virginia and Rutgers, so not really any shame in losing those games. Finally, ending with this club rankings, I've replaced Slice with DICE because it was made aware to me that DICE is the A team and that they have Leo Fried, as well as, I believe, Lindsay Morella and Molly Potter should be playing for this DICE team. And this team has the potential to rise even higher than this. If it's DICE, Lobsters, and Vermont, that should be 3 top 10 teams in the club scene all in action this weekend. And if we do get that Heat Copperheads series, there might be 5 of the top 10 clubs team playing this weekend. Should be very exciting. We will see how it all shapes out this weekend. And until next time, this is Jackson Vaughn signing off.